My name is Laila C. Matthew Daniel, and I'm a growth and development consultant in the areas of behavioral performance and run an NGO called Axe Generation that focuses on women empowerment and intervention in the areas of domestic violence and abuse. Today, 25th November, is International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women and marks the beginning of the 16 Days of Activism against gender-based violence, which ends on Human Rights Day, the 10th of December, because violence against women is a human rights violation. At the heart of this year's theme, Leave No One Behind, End Violence Against Women, is the imperative to support those who are particularly vulnerable. The Say No Unite campaign is calling on everyone to join the movement to end violence against women, using the color orange to make your action visible. 1 in 3 women have encountered violence in their lives. Today, more women and girls are being violated in homes, on the streets, in communities, villages, offices, on the internet, and every place imaginable. Many go unreported. Also, escalating scores of conflicts and agitations in different parts of our country is increasing the number of women and girls in difficult circumstances that are becoming more vulnerable to being violated. The ID camps are not spared. In both public and private life, safety is an important feature of every society, and it's becoming a major challenge for a lot of women. Why? Perhaps because today we find that our society is being conditioned constantly to accept and normalize violence against women. How is this happening? Through our cultural practices, customs, traditions, media, religious organizations, and every available front that is being exploited to constantly violate women. Our society continues to thrive on faulty thinking patterns, especially in regards to women and girls, which continues to fuel a recurrent increase of action sponsoring violence against women. While many talk publicly against the act, many are still perpetuating acts of violence in both private and public life. So how do we respond to all of this? Number one, every one of us need to realize that every act of violence is born out of wrong thinking patterns, which often drives our emotions, motives, and decisions. It begins first in the realm of the mind, which is the seat of all actions and gives birth to emotions and feelings that usually go out of control. We need to rein in thoughts that lead us to emotions, which drives us into violence, by engaging with counselors and therapists in the field. Number two, we need more men to identify and admit that all forms of violence against women is a violation of human rights and should be stopped. We need them to be at the forefront of campaigns and for them to be mentors to younger men. We need more men to mentor boys by protecting wives, mothers, sisters, colleagues at work, and every woman they interact with in every sphere of life. We need our governments to make and enforce laws that punish offenders who commit acts that violate women in every place and at every level. We need the government to promote financial commitment to adequate awareness and campaign to enlighten women in rural areas who are illiterate and therefore ignorant of their rights. Corporate organizations should support organizations that work in the areas of violence against women, because violence is not left at home and affects the bottom line of organizations through absenteeism, low performance, productivity, and medical health bills, amongst other things. We need more response institutions to provide services for victims of violence against women in our homes, in our communities, in our cities, and the country at large. We need adequate institutional or organizational support, especially in the areas of law enforcement, the judiciary, and state agents to assist victims of domestic violence and abuse. We need shelters for women and girls experiencing violence or are vulnerable. They're not enough. They're one or two, but they're not enough. We need trauma healing centers for victims and survivors of domestic abuse and other forms of violence against women. We need broader and more proactive services for victims. So let us all together both the ordinary man, and the government, let us unite to put an end to all forms of discriminations and violence against women, no matter where violence against women happens, what form it takes and whom it packs. It must be stopped. The promise of the Sustainable Development Goals to leave no one behind cannot be fulfilled without ending violence against women. It involves you, it involves myself. It depends on us to try to bring to zero tolerance this pandemic that cripples our society.